What's going on, YouTube? I went over some data today regarding the new tank ace stratagem that we are given from the Greater Good Psychic Awakening. I have it laid out here. A couple notes is this is all based on a 3-up ballistic, meaning that it's meant for tank commanders, being that the meta the last year or two have been tank commanders over the standard Leman Russes. That's the biggest thing you have to keep in note going over the damage here. The other thing to note would mainly be over here on this side. I went for the popular anti-tank Space Marine weapons right now. So you can see you have Meltas, single shot las guns, the 2 twin las cannons. Sorry, not guns. The 2 twin shot las cannons, the Whirlwind's like 10-shot crazy gun, and then like the 2-shot insane AP gun, and then the one at the bottom here is a Thunderhammer, a single model with a Thunderhammer. So this is actually my first time I'm actually sitting down myself and analyzing the data that I inputted. The good thing about this stratagem that people aren't realizing is it's not something you have to have preemptively set for when you from when you go to the tournament. This is a pre-game stratagem, meaning that you don't have to decide exactly which one of your tanks and tank guns is getting this until you see what the enemy has. And this is huge for this right here. So, specifically, if you're facing an army that's like largely Space Marine, I would say, like a lot of T7s and a lot of T4s, then the extra AP seems to be the way to go for the most part. If we're talking like a knight heavy army, a lot of T8s, a lot of dreadnoughts maybe from Space Marines, then we might want the reroll wounds of 1 for going half distance with slow and purposeful. The Exterminator and the Punisher like exclusively do better with the extra AP. Like across the board do better, which is very interesting. The Punisher specifically. So at least going off of base data for this, there should be no reason to not take the extra AP with the Punisher. The Exterminator is not as popular, so I can't really speak on it. I've used the Punisher, I've used the Vanquisher, Battle Cannon, Hammer Sunderance, and Demolisher, and the Executioner. So the only two I don't have on the table experience with is the Eradicator and the Exterminator. If someone knows the real difference or the real performance of them, let me know. But if I'm fielding a Punisher, right, I have Gun Experts, which is the Catachin ability to reroll number of shots, which is always been a good thing, right? And then the reroll hits of 1 is like 90% of time the order that you're going to be giving yourself as a tank commander. So that's why I have Gunnery Experts and reroll hits of 1. And the note, too, that this damage, the damage table here, not with the single damage ones, but for like the D6, D3 ones. Or, no, sorry, not for the single shot ones. So not for like the 40 shots, and not like the 4 shots from the Exterminator. But the D6 shots, Mathhammer cannot calculate reroll and shot dice. They can calculate reroll and hits and wounds and save rolls, but not shot dice. So the base is 7 shots. So 7 shots for per 2d6 shots for grinding advance, shooting twice at the same target. So we might be able to push these numbers and these predictions a little higher for the Battle Cannon, Hammer Sunderance, Executioner, Demolisher. I think the Exterminator, again, I'm not familiar with the Exterminator or the Eradicator. I don't use those at all. So across the board, Vanquisher, this did not help the Vanquisher cannon at all. The thing's a waste. Even though it's like the cheapest cannon right now, it's a complete waste. I would never use this in any circumstance when you compare it with it. Literally has like single-handedly the lowest damage output for in like any scenario. It's not a good weapon. So I would stay away from it until they actually buff the crap out of it. I would stay away from it. The Punisher, like I said, across the board, reroll hits of 1. And the Weapon Expert for AP -1. That's what I meant to say. That one, if you're going to run a Punisher, regardless of the armor you're facing, the AP -1 is huge. Like, crazy huge. So that's something to note. If you're facing a Knight-heavy army or a lot of T8s, then definitely the reroll wounds of 1 can help a lot. So the Hammer Sunderance looks great. Like, across the board, except for the higher toughness models, you're getting over 10 total damage. So with Space Marines, you're getting 10 dead models. With like Horde type units, you're getting 15 dead models, 16 dead models possibly, with the reroll wounds of 1. The Demolisher is the outlier I wanted to focus on, because if we were to take the averages of all types of these in both scenarios, it seems like the Demolisher across the board, like, just flatly does the most damage to, or deals the most unsaved wounds to any, like, 90% of models in the game. And I bring this up because one of the traits you can do with the custom traits is increasing the range of your turret weapons by 6 inches. I should have thrown that up. So 6 inches, so that brings it to a 30-inch weapon. So if you put Gunnery Experts and Gunnery Experts and the ranged one for 6 inches, it's 30-inch range, rerolling shot dice, shooting twice, and on even the toughest models, you're dishing out possibly 10 wounds. So I can see this being a real meta, being the Demolisher Cannon with the 30-inch range and the reroll shot dice. You could swap out the reroll shot dice if you kind of wanted to risk it, right? Swap the reroll shot dice with the other one that allows you the Vance, which is basically like Toleran, the Toleran regiment trait, except you do get a -1 hit penalty, so that's the trade-off there. So the Demolisher I like with the Stratagem, the Punisher I like with the Stratagem, Hammer Sunderance I really like with the Stratagem. The Battle Cannon, the standard Battle Cannon doesn't really seem to get that much of a boost in the sense of like a drastic change, maybe a wound. Like all of these. So the extra AP does it good for like the T7 3 save models, but you might kill one extra Space Marine or leave a wound on them. But overall, I would say the tank variants that benefit from the tank ace ability overall would be mainly the Executioner, the Demolisher, the Punisher, and the Hammer Sunderance. Those are the 4 that I would really focus on with this. Now, if we're playing a more defensive tank type of meta, tank being like the RPG soak up damage tank, not literally a tank, pun intended, I guess. The 2 new ace abilities we have to be more defensive is Up Armored, which gives it a 2-up save, and Master Mechanic, which decreases all damage by 1. And as you can see here from the data I laid out, it definitely seems like the subtract damage by 1 is the way to go in like most scenarios. The only thing it doesn't do better against, I guess, according to Math Hammer at least, is against the 2 twin las cannons. I put this one right here, I put it in here to represent the Mortis Dreadnought, that Iron Hands has been doing as a meta, where they make that a character with 2 twin las cannons, which is just ridiculous. Everyone knows that. But what we have here is, besides that, I have a bunch of other types of Space Marine weapons. I think I said at the beginning of the video, so like Meltas, single las cannons, the Whirlwinds, the Repulsors, and a Thunderhammer. Subtracting damage by 1 outside of the 2 twin las cannons across the board seems really good. The ability to make... Losing my train of thought, I apologize. So the ability to make the Thunderhammer cannons with Psychic Barrier and the subtract damage by 1 barely do less than 3 damage per model swinging with it. So this was a Smash Captain that I used. So obviously a Smash Captain has a 2-up weapon, not a 3-up. But if we're talking bonuses, rerolling wounds, rerolling hits of 1, then yeah, we're looking at roughly 2 to 3 wounds per model, and usually the Terminators with the Thunderfire or the Thunderhammer cannons and the Storm Shields, usually the Terminators are hitting in groups of 5. So say your tank's at full health in this charge phase, your tank could possibly live through an entire assault, completely focused on that one tank with Master Mechanic. And then you can get the Jury Rig trait if you have that, and you can heal 1 to D3 wounds depending on your roll, which is crazy. So if you're going to play more defensive, I would definitely say Master Mechanic right now, at least for the projected data, looks like the better defensive trait, where across the board, weapon-wise, on an offensive playstyle, it's dependent, like I said earlier, so you have to really see what kind of army your opponent brings to decide which of the offensive traits you're going to choose. But for the defensive, it's largely Master Mechanic if you're going to go with a defensive trait to subtract damage by 1. That's my analysis. If you guys have any opinions on this, that'll be really appreciated. This is my first kind of video where I'm doing this, so I really appreciate the time taken to watch this. Let me know if you have any extra thoughts or have any other opinions on this. That'd be really appreciated. And thanks for watching, everyone. Appreciate it.